Hello, I'm Eric. I want to tell you of a very well-known story. You've probably heard it. It goes something like this. So a man was walking down the street one day, and he didn't see a hole in front of him. And it was a very deep hole, but he just kept walking right towards it, and he fell in. Now, he was able to get out. It took him some time, but he got out. A few days later, he was walking down the same street. At this point, he'd forgotten about the hole in the street, and he wasn't paying too much attention to his surroundings. He fell right into it again. Second time, it took a bit longer to get out. He managed to. A few months later, he was going down the same darn street, minding his own business, not really paying attention to his surroundings or what was going on around him. And guess what? He fell into the hole. Now, this time, he couldn't get out. Not all that easily. So what did he do? Well, he heard somebody come by and he called out, "Friend, friend, I'm stuck in here." Well, the friend turned out to be a pastor who was walking down the street and had, of course, avoided the hole. And the pastor looked in and said, "I'm sorry, I can't see you. It's too dark." He said, "Well, yeah, I fell pretty far this time." And the pastor said, well, maybe I should call someone to get you some help." And the man said, "Well, you're here. Why don't you just help me?" And the pastor said, "Well, I can't go in, son. I can't go down there." Now, this puzzled the man, and he asked him, "How come?" He asked the pastor, "How come?" And the pastor said very simply, "Sir, it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. We can't get in to the same holes or chasms as John Heilman referred to in a recent MSNBC Morning Joe episode. I believe that was on Thursday of this week, which would have been yesterday, based on this recording, which is the 8th of Jan, or Janus, as the Romans called January. You can look Janus up on the internet. Anyhow, this puzzled the man in the hole. He thought, a pastor would want to get involved, right? The Good Samaritan. And so he called out and said, "Well, aren't you a Good Samaritan?" And the pastor said, "Certainly, I'm a Good Samaritan. However, I'm not strong enough to get both of us back out of there." He said, "Think of a riptide. You've got to be careful when you're in a riptide, and you got to know what you're doing, and you got to have some strength. And a whole lot of knowledge about the situation, and you got to stay cool. If we both go in there, I just have enough strength to get one of us out, and one of us will still be down there." The pastor went on to say, all first responders have a responsibility to make sure that not only are the people they're saving are safe, but that they themselves, the first responders, take care to be safe also. Now, I know, I made that much more convoluted and wordy than what you've heard in the past. However, there are certain points that are made in the story or pointed at, but never specified. I've bothered to specify some of them for you. So what's all that about? Well, Biden wants to come together with McConnell and other Republicans. Great idea. We should work together, Republicans, Democrats, Socialists, Green Party. In fact, I think we should have a lot of different parties in America. That would make it easier for people to see the wisdom and value of political parties coming together. Of course, if history and current affairs are any indicator, the various political parties would simply form cliques, and the cliques would hang together, and then you'd still have to get clique A and clique B to come together, right? However, the idea is a good idea. The concept is excellent. Problem is, even before Trump came to office, and I'm not going to go all the way back to Gingrich, who I call the Grinch. I'm just going to go back to the Obama administration. When Obama took office, even before the swearing in, speaking of Gingrich and other powerhouse Republicans came together at a bar, and they had a little discussion, some witchery, about how to block Obama's agenda, how to make him a one-term president. McConnell was on the record as saying shortly after that he, McConnell, had the sole aim of making Obama a one-term president. A one-term president. And you'll recall that it took 3 tries to get the ACA passed. 3 tries. Most presidents won't even give it a second look because they'll think it's political suicide. We do have people's recollection aides for Obama who have said and written that Obama was convinced he had to get ACA through. And even if that meant being a one-term president, he was going to get the darn bill through. Well, he wasn't a one-term president. We know that. We also know that in his second term, Merrick Garland didn't get a hearing because of McConnell. You see, Biden, you see, friends, McConnell has been too busy falling into the same hole, and I don't think you, Biden, are strong enough. I don't think the Democratic Party is healed enough, because you do have to take care of yourself first, remember? Doctor, heal thyself. You do recall that, friends, don't you? You have heard that, haven't you, Mr. Biden? And we're not healed. On the one hand, we have Manchin and Hoopenlicker and other more right-leaning Democrats. And on the other hand, in the House, rather than the Senate, we have more progressive Democrats, the Justice Democrats. By the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with justice. I think Merrick Garland made a very good case for justice just yesterday, on Thursday, the 7th. So I'm all for justice and Democrats and justice and Republicans. I think that's a very good idea, something we can come together over. Until these fissures, these factions can come to terms with each other and become comfortable and not point fingers at each other, which happened after the election. By the way, ACO offered to help any Democratic House candidate who wanted her help, and the 5 who accepted her help won their elections. Thank you, Representative AOC, Ocasio-Cortez. Sometimes I have trouble remembering your last name, Ocasio-Cortez, because I use AOC all the time. But I don't want to digress too far. Just a little, but not too far. When Democrats are stronger, and when Republicans have figured out who they are, if they're elephants with great memories, or donkeys with stiff necks, or if they're sly like a fox, which right now I think the fox would be a great emblem or animal spirit for the Republicans, or maybe Wile E. Coyote. which works better with the gang who can't shoot straight still in the White House. At any rate, once the two parties get healthier, then we can reach out and help each other. Until then, no. You can't work with people who support what the Capitol Police did. You can't work with people who say that the invaders, the people who are trying to commit seditious acts, who were committing seditious acts, were actually anti-fascists. Anti-fascists don't want to attack the temple of our representative republic. Yes, Speaker Pelosi, we are a representative government. We're not a straight-up democracy. Thank you. And you know that all too well. You're the one who can bring in all kinds of money for the Democrats, who then represent the people. I'm not sure which people, though, given all the money you rake in. But that, again, I don't want to digress too far. So, here we are. The Republicans are in the midst of what appears to be a blooming civil war, or budding civil war. The Democrats are still licking their wounds from the post-election tussle over whose fault it was anyway. Well, you got to be true to yourself, but don't bother other people for being true unto themselves. Duh. Really, Spanberger. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it in public. And don't let anybody repeat it. Tell them ahead of time. No leaks. Okay, it won't work, but still, you got to get the message out there, right? And that goes for everybody. No leaks. You can keep your dirty underwear to yourselves. Thank you. Now then, Biden. Until both parties are a whole lot healthier, don't get in the hole McConnell led the Republicans, because Democrats are not strong enough to get the Republicans out of their own mess. They're in a tar pit, they're in a very deep hole, they're in a very gooey mess, however you want to put it. And we Democrats just aren't strong enough or united enough yet to get the Republicans out, or to help them to get out, because we can't actually get them out if they don't want to. Right? I suspect they don't want to work with black people. That's why they had it in for Obama. I suspect they will certainly be willing to work more with Biden than with Obama, but only because, well, two reasons. One, most importantly, Biden is Caucasian. Two, Biden is an institutionalist. You'll note that he was first for the Hyde Amendment during the debate, and then when he got all the flack and he realized that, hey, if I stay in favor of the Hyde Amendment, I'm not getting the nomination, his campaign, not the candidate, released a statement saying that he had backtracked and he was no longer for the Hyde Amendment. How out of touch can you be, Biden? And that's just it. You are out of touch if you think you can really work with McConnell. Remember, McConnell is sly as a fox, addicted to power, and that's not a good combination to try to work with. And Graham goes any old way the wind blows. He should be utterly ashamed of himself. He didn't win his election this past fall, winter, by saying, oh, I think I have it in for Trump now. Mm-mm. So you can't trust Graham as far as you can throw him. Biden, I'm not going to say stick with your own kind. I am going to say the Republicans are too diseased and you're too close to them. They're your sons and daughters, and you're the surgeon. And as a story I learned in grade school goes, a boy was brought into the hospital, and the surgeon, a woman, took one look at the boy and said, "I can't operate on this boy." The question is, why couldn't the woman operate on the boy? He was injured. She was a surgeon. The woman also was the boy's mother. You're too close. You're too friendly. You can't get a good, clear perspective on the situation, Joe Biden. You got to step away and get another surgeon in there. Or another team of surgeons. They can report to you, but you can't guide them because you'll only misguide them, because you'll only be caught in the desires of a good friend and not in the pragmatic position of a good surgeon. Eric out.